Hey, good morning, Daily Dosers. My name's Austin Payne, and I'm one of the high school pastors on the Vista campus. And as we talk about anger this week, recently for me, I was in the car sitting in traffic, and I was rushing from point A to point B, running late, unfortunately. And I reacted in anger to a conversation that I was having with my wife. And to my shame, I kind of blew up, and then she got quiet. And then I knew within me, that small, still voice that's like, you're a jerk. Like, why? Just apologize, own it. But I didn't want to. And it was for sure my pride in this moment of going, well, no, you were right in that moment, or you were right to respond the way that you did. And as I looked over and my wife just sitting there in silence, kind of waiting for my response and not being sassy or not being mean or anything, she was just kind of sitting quietly, and there was just this convicting spirit of going, I just got to own it. And I think for me, all growing up, there was these almost justification of anger in verses like Ephesians 4:26 that says, in your anger, do not sin, which I calculate as I can be angry and not sin. Or even thinking about Jesus clearing the temple courts and having this expression of anger and going, well, Jesus didn't sin and he was angry, and yet I think about my anger, and most of the time my anger is a reaction or a response, and it comes because I'm hurried. And recently I've been reading a lot about hurry and busyness, and for whatever reason, it may be just because I'm reading about it or because it's more prevalent, I feel like the answer I get from a lot of people when I ask, hey, how you doing? It's like, I'm good, just busy. Or, oh man, I'm just really tired. Just, the schedule's been busy lately. And it really feels like in our day and age that there's this currency of busyness, that there may be a fear of being lazy or a fear of not having a full schedule. And when we're busy, it seems like that's a good thing. And yet when I think about love in Scripture, and Paul, his very first descriptor of the word love is patient in 1 Corinthians 13. And I think about my anger in that moment with my wife, and it was anything but patient. It was an explosion. It was a reaction in that moment. And man, I'm reading this book right now that's really talking about how incompatible hurry and love are. And if I think about my anger in that moment, it wasn't loving, it wasn't patient. And I think a lot of it comes from me being hurried. And really, if I'm being honest, most of my worst moments in life come from when I'm rushing from point A to point B, or if I'm trying to knock off a bunch of things from an unrealistic to-do list, or trying to cram too much into my day or into my week, or if I'm running behind to a meeting or to an appointment or to a commitment that I had. And as I run behind, my fuse seems to grow shorter and shorter as I'm hurrying from point A to point B. And it's really because hurry and love, they're like oil and water. They don't mix, and hurry is the antithesis of love. And most of the time I find myself reacting in anger, whether it be, rolling my eyes or a glare or being short. And in the moments where I'm hurried, if I just take a pause and almost zoom out and have this out-of-body experience and look down on me, I'm anything but loving. I'm anything but patient. And my hurriedness is stoking on my anger. And the more hurried I find myself, the more I struggle with this reaction and this response of anger. And I'm challenged in Scripture, even in the surrounding context of Ephesians 4, to continue to take off this old self and to put on this new self. And there's even the challenge in here to say, man, don't let the sun go down on your anger. And I don't think there's anything magical about the sun setting and you're still angry and it's, something magical changes in the spiritual vortex. But I think there is a challenge to say, hey, as you take root of your day, as you take hold of your day and really look at how you spend your day, how much of it is responding in anger and reacting in anger because of your hurried nature and because of the busyness of trying to cram too much into our day. And I wonder what my day would look like. I wonder what my response would have been in traffic right there if I would have simply, if I ruthlessly eliminate that hurry, which is the title of this book that I'm reading, and just going, I want to focus more on spending time with Jesus and resting. And the more that I lean into my relationship with Jesus, I find the less hurried I am. And the less hurried I am, I tend to respond more patiently, and I tend to respond rather than react. And as I struggle in the midst of a busy life, and that's just reality for a lot of us, but in the midst of our busyness, how can we have this bigger perspective and go, as I eliminate hurry, I tend to be more patient and I tend to love more, and my anger doesn't seem to explode as much. And so that's my challenge for myself. It's maybe my challenge for us today. And yeah, thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow, Daily Dosers.